everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Jenna Phillips, and this is our daily show that gives you all the latest news from the world of movies with some insight into what it all means. And joining me as always is AMC Editor-in-Chief John Campea. Greetings and salutations, John.
Greetings and salutations, Jenna, and my international friends. Today's little tidbit of info about John. I actually once roadied for the Bare Naked Ladies. One of the most fun things I've ever done, actually. It was a lot of fun.
Sounds awesome. And also joining me is AMC Associate Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So I was driving on my way to work on this beautiful Thursday, and I heard that Miley Cyrus is Maxim's top #1 spot in the top 100.
Yep.
And I think this means that the apocalypse is officially coming.
Top 100 of what?
The hottest women.
She's #1.
She's #1. I think this means the apocalypse is coming. Grab your safety kits. Be prepared because I'm just completely shocked and horrified.
I am too. All right, let's get started. Dig out your old pair of ruby quartz glasses because it looks like Cyclops may be returning. As most of you know, the character Cyclops apparently died in X-Men 3. However, a former Newsweek reporter recently tweeted that he saw actor James Marsden, who played Cyclops in the X films, getting on a plane bound for Montreal with Halle Berry. You know, Montreal is where they're currently shooting X-Men Days of Future Past. John, what do you make of this?
Okay, this would be awesome. I've always loved James Marsden. I've never liked, as much as I love the first two X-Men films, I never really liked the way they handled Cyclops. Cyclops is a great character, and I've never been, look, I don't need them to do him exactly the way he's done in the comic book, but do him at least in a good way, and I never felt they did him in a good way, and I never liked the way they ended him. But, I mean, I've always said to my friends, look, in X-Men 3, we never see a body. We never see a Cyclops body. All they do is a Wolverine and Storm find his glasses on the beach, insinuating he died, but we've never seen a body. So I've always kind of held up hope that he was alive. I love this because James Marsden, I believe, is a tragically underrated actor. I think a lot of people only know him from the X-Men films, but he's done a lot of other stuff. Some stuff good, some stuff not so good, but he's always good in it. He's one of those guys. His performance in Hairspray was wonderful. Nobody talks about his performance in Hairspray. And
nobody talks about Hairspray.
I didn't know he talks about it in general, but
wonder.
I thought he showed some great talent in that film. So, look, yeah, for that reason, one, I'd love to see Cyclops returned and done better, and I'd love to see James Marsden as an actor return. So, overall, I think this would be fantastic. What do you think, Rose?
Yeah, I really like James Marsden. I also think he's a really good actor. Have you ever seen the movie Gossip? With Lena, who's in Game of Thrones? I really liked him in that, and I agree. I think Cyclops is such a badass character, and they kind of made him a wimp in the earlier films. They really just did not make him as awesome as he's supposed to be, and I really hope they get it right. I do think that Singer, this is kind of his redemption. I really think, you know, after the third one was messed up and he wasn't a part of that, I do think that he's going to hopefully get everything right. Give us the Cyclops we love. Give us Rogue we love, too, because she was not so great earlier. They made all these characters kind of dumbed down, so I wasn't really necessarily pleased about that. But I do think James is a good actor, and I love the character of Cyclops, so I hope they get it right.
After a small directing shuffle and delays, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes has officially started production as the sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes began shooting in New Orleans this week. In Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, a growing nation of genetically evolved apes led by Caesar is threatened by a band of human survivors of the devastating virus unleashed a decade earlier. They reach a fragile peace, but it proves short-lived as both sides are brought to the brink of a war that will determine who will emerge as Earth's dominant species. The movie stars Andy Serkis, celebrated for his performance in the last film, reprising his role as Caesar, Jason Clarke of Zero Dark 30 and The Great Gatsby, Gary Oldman of The Dark Knight Rises and the Harry Potter films, and Kerry Russell. The movie is being directed by Cloverfield and Let Me In director Matt Reeves. Amy Rose, how is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes sounding to you?
I think it sounds really interesting. I mean, I really liked the first one. It was a great surprise to me. I really thought it was going to fall apart and get super cheesy, but I thought it was really well done. And motion capture technology, what Serkis does, is so interesting to me, and he's great. Gollum, Caesar, he crushes it, and Gary Oldman is a fantastic actor. Kerry Russell, I think, is a very underrated great actress. What was that movie, the pie one?
Waitress.
Waitress. She was phenomenal in that movie.
I thought she should get an Oscar award,
She was
or at least a nomination for that.
So good in that, and she's just really good. And I thought the first one was really solid, and I think it's going to be a good film. And Let Me In, even though I liked the Swedish version better, I thought it was still pretty good. Chloe was great. The direction was really interesting. So I do think Reeves is a solid director. I think it's going to be good.
I think Reeves is a very interesting choice for this film. I said this before. I'll say it again. I'm one of these guys. I didn't like Cloverfield. I liked it less and less the more times I watched it. But I didn't hate it. It didn't impress me. I was really quite impressed with his adaptation of Let Me In. And so I think he is an interesting choice for this film. I think the story sounds really cool. And it is one of those films that was starting, it wasn't like Jane Got a Gun, where something terrible was happening every 3 days, but it was starting to look like one of these films that, all these bad things keep happening. I wonder if it's going to happen. It's really nice to hear that it's actually gone in production, that it's shooting. So yeah, sign me up. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Okay, yesterday we reported that production on Jurassic Park IV was stalling and on hiatus. Our own John Campea then speculated that there was no way the film would possibly meet its June 13th, 2014 release date, and it appears he was right. Why am I not surprised?
Of course.
As today, Universal Studios officially announced that they are abandoning the release date. No new release date has been mentioned at this point. Taking advantage of the situation is 21 Jump Street 2, which moved into the June 13th date from its previous June 6th release date, where it was set to open up against the new Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Bummer, now I have to wait a week longer to see Channing Tatum. John, who wins in the shuffle?
There is one clear, obvious winner in all of this, and that is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There might somewhere right now in Malibu with one of his 18 or 19-year-old girlfriends, Michael Bay is dancing an Irish jig. Because yesterday, his movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that he's producing was going to be opening up against, at the same time on the same day, against 21 Jump Street 2, which was going to kill it. And then its next week was going to be the new Jurassic Park, which would just put the nail in the coffin of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Today, completely different. It's opening against nothing, and 21 Jump Street is the next week, which isn't going to kill its continuation box office as much as Jurassic Park would have. So in all of this, the huge winner is Michael Bay and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who, as I said, as we speak, dancing the aforementioned Russian or Irish jig. The Russian jig would be good too. I can see him down, crossing his arms, kicking his legs. So yeah, not surprised that Jurassic Park lost its release date. There was no way they were going to get this done in time. It's a year away. They don't even have a cast. So that's really unfortunate. I'm going to predict this. I think it's going to be at least December of 2014. When they finally announce a Jurassic Park 4 release date, it won't be until at least December of 2014. I mean, I could be really wrong about that, but that's my gut feeling. I think they're really behind on this. Amy Rose, what do you think?
You're wrong sometimes?
It happens. Not often.
Just ask him. Okay. I think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles needs all the help they can get. So good for them. Give them a shot. I mean, I really have no interest in this. I really don't.
That's honest.
I loved The Rock. I love Bad Boys. I love a third film. That's the Michael Bay I know and love. I just think everything I've heard about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, while they're heading in the right direction, and he's saying, oh, they're not aliens from space now, and they're definitely kind of backpedaling from where they originally were, I still don't really care that much because Bay's behind it. No offense, I still like some of his work, but everything I've heard about this, it just seems like a madhouse. Now, 21 Jump Street, on the other hand, I'm really looking forward to. I thought the first one was great. Also don't want to wait another week for Channing. But I thought their comedic timing and everything was great about that, and I really hope Jurassic Park 4 gets it together. They pushed it, that gives them a little hope more, but I really want more prehistoric dinos on the big screen. Let's do this. Please.
All right, folks, listen, we've come to that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's what's going to happen. In front of her, Jenna has a few other issues from the world of movie news. She's going to list them off, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So Jenna, what do we got?
One of the most interesting things about the very first Wolverine teaser that came online a few months ago was the quick glimpse we got of Famke Janssen, aka Jean Grey. There was a lot of speculation about what kind of role she would play in the new movie, but in a recent interview, Janssen confirmed that what we saw in the trailer was indeed a flashback. She said, I couldn't tell you how much I'm in it. It's a flashback sequence, but that's all I can say. You'll just have to wait until July. Amy Rose, buy or sell Janssen's role in Wolverine just being a flashback?
I'm gonna buy that it's just a flashback. Just from the teaser trailer, it kind of looked that way anyway, and you know, it's kind of showing the story of solitude and just how, you know, Wolverine came to be here and, you know, transitions into meeting the love of his life in Japan. So I definitely think it's just a flashback. I wish it was more because I love Femke Jensen as Jean Grey. But yeah, I think it's just a flashback.
Yeah, I'm going to buy this because I don't think I want her in this movie. I love her as Jean Grey. I think she's great, but I'm looking forward to seeing a real legit standalone Wolverine film. I want to see Wolverine in his isolation doing his thing, unlike the last Wolverine film, which was really just X-Men pseudo, where it still had like 40 other mutants in it. I'm looking forward to this, and I'm glad that this is the case, so I buy it.
It's got to be better than the Origins film.
Has to be.
Right now. Not hard.
Game of Thrones star Richard Madden has been cast as the prince in Disney's upcoming live-action Cinderella. As previously announced, the film is being directed by Sir Kenneth Branagh, stars Cate Blanchett as the wicked stepmother, and features Lily James in the title role. John, buy or sell Madden in Cinderella?
I'm actually going to sell this. I think there is a very poor track record of guys who start off as big TV stars, then a studio trying to capitalize on popularity of a show by getting that actor into their movie. There's not a really solid track record of that. So for that reason, I sell it.
I'm going to buy it. King of the North.
Yes.
He's an awesome actor, and I completely will try to disprove your theory. Your girl, Jennifer Gardner, started on TV with Alias. She's one of your favorites, right? Mm-hmm. Will Smith started on TV. He's
actually,
one of the biggest actors.
He started as a music star.
Okay, he started as a music star.
First anyway.
But Fresh Prince of Bel-Air kind of got him more on people's, Big Willie, come on. I just think there are a lot of examples that show that TV stars can be successful. And HBO and Showtime are different because those are crazy real productions. Game of Thrones is one of the most impressive shows on TV right now. So King of the North, I think you'll be a great prince. We already know you're a great king.
I buy it too, and let's just hope he has an easier time wearing the crown in Cinderella. All right, it's been announced that Robert Redford will direct the upcoming film adaptation of the novel A Walk in the Woods, in which he will also star alongside Nick Nolte. The novel is described like this: the Appalachian Trail stretches from Georgia to Maine and covers some of the most breathtaking terrain in America: majestic mountains, silent forests, sparkling lakes. If you're going to take a hike, it's probably the place to go. And Bill Bryson is surely the most entertaining guide you'll find. He introduces us to the history and ecology of the trail and to some of the other hardy or just foolhardy folks he meets along the way, and a couple of bears. Already a classic, A Walk in the Woods will make you long for the great outdoors, or at least a comfortable chair to sit and read in. John, buy or sell A Walk in the Woods?
At this point, I have to sell it, which is weird because I worship Robert Redford. Nick Nolte, I think, is a treasure in Hollywood, but I'm just going by what I know. And granted, I don't know a lot about this book. All I know is what is put in front of me. And just from what's put in front of me, I have no desire to see this movie. I mean, this does not sound intriguing to me at all. Now, maybe if I knew more about the book, my mind will change, and maybe my mind will change as we move forward. But for now, I got to sell it.
Yeah, I'm also going to sell it. I'm not that intrigued based off what you just read to us. I love Robert Redford. I mean, obviously, he is one of the most talented people still alive today in the industry. Nick Nolte, while he is a treasure, I can barely understand him anymore. When he acts, I really can't. It's like, and I think he's really awesome, but I have a little bit of trouble.
Alicia Vikander, who recently starred in Joe Wright's Anna Karenina, has taken the female lead in the upcoming The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Alicia will star opposite Tom Cruise and Armie Hammer as a British agent created specifically for the film and not in the original series. Amy Rose, buy or sell Vikander joining The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
I'll buy it, but I'm kind of neutral. I actually have never seen her in anything. I did not see Anna Karenina, so why not? I like Armie. I like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. She seems pretty. I just looked up her photo, so let's give you a chance, Alicia.
Yeah, she actually did. I'm going to buy this. I did see her, and I thought she was actually quite strong. And so seeing her in a role like this, put her, and look, hey, hats off to her for getting this opportunity.
Yeah.
To be jumping in with Tom Cruise
and
maybe one of the next big, huge stars of the next 10 years, Armie Hammer. So, and I think it's intriguing. And I like the fact that they're throwing in a new character to kind of be the offsetting, probably love interest, because that's what they do in Hollywood. So yeah, for me, it is a buy.
We need a hot chick in the film, right? That's a given.
Yes.
Always.
it's a buy. All right, Amy Rose Eisenbach, Associate Editor of AMC Movie News. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. See you later, lovelies.
And it is now time for our mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question that you would like us to address on air, you can email anytime to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We get a whole bunch of email every day. We pick out a bunch out of the mailbag and answer your questions on air. Jenna's got a few picked out. So Jenna, what do we got?
Kimball Earl writes, I love your show. John, I have been a huge fan of yours since the movie blog. You are the source of a correct movie opinion.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful I get to hear your insights and opinions every day. I was wondering if you had heard any developments on Green Arrow Escape from Supermax. I first heard about this project several years ago and thought it sounded awesome. A superhero trapped in a prison full of supervillains, many of whom he had put there. But it seems to have completely disappeared. Is it still going to happen? Is it just in developmental limbo? With the success of the CW's Arrow, you'd think the studio would renew interest in the project. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm telling you, one of the most interesting sounding superhero type films of the past 10 years has been Supermax. For those of you who don't know, David Goyer, who wrote the upcoming Man of Steel, he wrote the Dark Knight movies with Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan. He wrote this script for Supermax, which is basically a Green Arrow story of Oliver McQueen, who's falsely accused of a crime. He gets put into this highest level penitentiary filled with guys who want to kill him. And he's got to team up with people, some B and C level villains, to get out and clear his name. It sounded so fascinating, but eventually it died. I think it was just one of those things where the Green Arrow character wasn't popular enough that WB didn't feel that they could take a risk on it. Now, this brings up another kind of cool issue. A lot of people say, hey, with the huge popularity now of Arrow on TV, which is one of the few TV shows I watch. If you don't watch Arrow, you should. It's a really good show. But people say, with the huge popularity of Arrow, shouldn't they now look at making a Green Arrow movie? Well, what is your definition of hugely popular? Is hugely popular the #1 show on TV? Is it the #5 show on TV? Is it the number 10? Is it in the top 15? Is it in the top 25? Can you be in the top 25 and still be called a huge hit? Well, let's put this in perspective. The number 25 rated TV show has a 2.1 rating in the Nielsen ratings. Okay, a 2.1 rating. That's number 25. Arrow has a 0.9. which puts it, I believe, out of the top 50. It's not even one of the top 50 most popular television shows. So I believe that disqualifies it from being called a huge hit. It has a niche audience like me and you, that we watch it and we love it, but let's not over-exaggerate the popularity of it, because it's not, in the grand scheme of things, all that popular. So I don't think the TV show, as good as it is, will do much to change Warner Brothers' mind about making it into a movie. That's just my thoughts.
H. Green writes, hey guys, awesome show. Would it be unrealistic to cross universes by taking Jason Statham's transporter character and placing it into Fast and Furious 7?
I love this question. In principle, there's a couple of answers to this. Let's start with the first one. In principle, I don't have a problem actually with the idea of taking a character from one movie, if there's no big continuity issues, and then dropping them into another film. And something like what you're proposing sounds kind of cool. However, there are two very big problems. The first big problem is that Jason Statham is a hero in The Transporter, and from all reports, he is going to be the villain in Fast and Furious 7. So that kind of disqualifies it in general. But the other thing that disqualifies your theory, your idea, which I like very much, is the fact that The Transporter is owned by Fox, and Fast and Furious is owned by Universal. So much like the whole Spider-Man in the Avengers kind of issue, where it's two characters owned by two different studios, couldn't happen. So despite the fact that he's a good guy in one and a bad guy in the other, he's owned by one studio in one and another studio in another. So unfortunately, we won't be able to see that happen.
Kevin Hernandez writes, so Iron Man 3 has launched Marvel's Phase 2. It looks like the Avengers 2 is well underway. However, I'm concerned about the amount of possible characters that will be in the movie. By the looks of it, we're going to have Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and possibly the 5 members of Guardians of the Galaxy, along with the supposed brother-sister duo. Do you guys think that's a lot of characters? I mean, the Avengers divided the screen times flawlessly, but I couldn't help but be a little concerned of how the Avengers 2 would approach or even handle that. What do you guys think?
Kevin, I think you are bang on the money, man. That is my one big concern as well, going into Avengers 2, is like, how many people are you going to have in the Avengers? Now, look, just because, I got to keep this in mind too, just because Marvel, say, does a character, that doesn't mean that character is then going to be in the Avengers. Just because they do a Black Panther, if they do a Black Panther, and I think they will, that doesn't mean Black Panther has to be in the Avengers. Just because they're doing an Ant-Man doesn't mean Ant-Man has to be in the Avengers. Just because they're doing a Doctor Strange doesn't mean Doctor Strange has to be in the Avengers. They're talking about maybe Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, which, by the way, we don't know if they're going to be heroes or villains. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they may not be heroes. I mean, that's one possibility. But we hear about all these characters, and I think a lot of us just then make the assumption that means they're going to be in the Avengers, and they're going to be Avengers with the team. And the funny thing is, the same people, and look, my brothers and sisters, I am including myself in this. I am as guilty as this as anybody. But a bunch of us will always whine and bitch and moan and complain that if a movie has 2 villains, we'll go, that's too many villains. You're diluting the movie. It's going to ruin it. Oh, but put Ant-Man and Black Panther and Quicksilver and this person and Falcon and whatever and Billy Bo Bim Bob from like issue number 46 of Captain America. Put them all, have it a 47-member Avengers team. Yeah, that'll be awesome. No, it'll be crap. It'll be absolute crap. So, Kevin, I completely share your hesitation and your concern. It's the only concern I have about Avengers 2. But I do hope that they have a plan to, just because they have a character doesn't mean you got to put them in the Avengers. And I hope they keep that Avengers number to a manageable number. I mean, you pointed out, Amy Rose and I talk about this all the time, that one of the brilliant things about the first Avengers movie is how Joss Whedon and Marvel and Kevin Feige took all those characters and made them all feel like they got equal screen time and equal story time. But you add even just, that's a delicate balance. I think you add even 2 more characters of that. And I think you just got, you leave everybody wanting, or you're going to really ignore some characters like the X-Men 2 and X-Men 3 did. You introduce all these mutants that had like 5 seconds of screen time. So we don't want that. I'm really curious to see how they handle it moving forward. But I share your concern, buddy. I do.
Benjamin Burnside writes, hey guys, I was just wondering what your thoughts were on movie trailers today. Do you think trailers show too much content for their films today? I feel like I sometimes see half of some films from their trailers alone before I even get a chance to see the movie. Benjamin, I couldn't agree with you more. Sometimes in comedies, they show the movie's funniest parts in the trailers, and by the time I see the movie, they don't have any funny parts left. I even remember in one of the Incredible Hulk trailers when they showed Tony Stark and completely spoiled that surprise before I even watched the movie. Trailers are supposed to give a little piece of the snack, not the entire thing. What are your thoughts?
I've had this discussion before with friends of mine, and yeah, it does happen sometimes. That sometimes a trailer gives away way too much of the movie. But a lot of the time, to be fair, it only feels like they give away too much of the movie. I've seen trailers sometimes where I've gone, man, I feel like I've just watched the whole movie, and then gone and watched the movie and realized, oh, the trailer didn't actually give away the whole movie. It just kind of felt that way at first. There's this very precarious line that film marketers have to walk when making trailers. Because you got to do a couple things. One, you got to let the audience know, what is this movie about? Now, some people will make a very stupid argument to me to say, no, you don't need to tell the audience what the movie's about. Keep it all a mystery. No, if you don't tell the audience what the movie's about, why would they be interested in seeing it? You just don't give away the movie, but just let me know what it's about. Just give me a general idea what the movie's about. But then, going beyond just telling people what the movie's about, you've got to entice them to want to come to the theater and see it. In the sense of a comedy, you want to put in some of the better jokes. Sometimes a comedy is terrible, and the only funny parts are the parts they do put in the trailer.
Exactly.
But that's their job. Their job is to sell the movie. But like 40-Year-Old Virgin or really good comedies, you realize, yeah, the trailer was hilarious, but that didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg because this whole movie's hilarious. So it is a very fine line. I do think, though, just summing up, that it more often than not, it feels like a movie gives away everything, when in actuality, it doesn't really give everything away. It does happen from time to time, and it's unfortunate when that's the case. And sometimes a comedy's trailer does show all the funniest parts, but I find most of the time it doesn't, for the most part. But once again, it's that precarious line. Like, if you're a movie marketer, like me, you hand me a crappy comedy, like a really crappy comedy, say, sell this movie. Go make a trailer that makes people want to come to see it. Well, then I got to mine all the best parts I can out of it to put together a trailer that will try to entice people to see it. It happens sometimes. It's unfortunate, but I don't think it's as bad as an epidemic as sometimes it feels like it is. Well, listen, folks, that'll do it for us. Listen, while I've got you, before you do anything else, Stop what you're doing and click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news and, of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And listen, go out and see a movie tonight. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater and showtime and movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look down into the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and Stitcher radio podcasts so you can listen to us at work or on your treadmill or whatever. I want to thank once again our AMC Movie News Associate Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach, who's back at her desk working hard. I want to thank our very lovely host, Miss Jenna Phillips.
Thanks, guys.
And thank you most of all to you guys. Listen, the most important part of the show is not what we have to say up here. That's irrelevant. It's what you have to say. Make sure you jump down to the comment section of this video and leave your thoughts on any or all of the topics that we discussed here today. So, until tomorrow, my name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.